Hi there. It's been a while since I popped in, and that's because I've been really, really busy working on loads of stuff. But I thought I'd share something today, kind of a bit personal around um, completing tasks and basically the whole sense of overwhelm. Um, and this is partly because the other day I looked around my home and looked at all the business projects that I had on, and I realized that I had loads of half finished things. And this comes from the fact that I tend to really focus on starting things. And then when I got the last sort of finishing touches to do, I tend to think, oh, I'll finish that later. And then I go on to start something else. So then what happens is that weighs on me of like, I've got all these tasks that need to be done. And then like it builds up and builds up and builds up. So the overwhelm happens because I'm not completing what I need to be doing. And what happens is the brain is always on because it's thinking about that needs to be done, and this needs to be done, and that needs to be done. And when you look around, you can see the little jobs that need doing. And it's like a constant drip in the brain of stuff that you're worrying about. And that energy jet, you've got like the energy drain of open loops. That's the best way to think of it. You've got like an open loop, and your brain just keeps going through that loop and through that loop and through that loop until you actually complete it. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about now, and how this doesn't just show up in one area of my life. This shows up in lots of different areas of my life. I'll talk a little bit about that, how I kind of identify the pattern. And by the end of it, I should give you some practical tips, things that I'm going to be trying that you can give a go. You can try to, and see if they will help you kind of bust through some of that overwhelm. So, the first thing to do really is to start identifying the pattern. So, becoming aware of what's happening. So, for me, what happens is I start really strong. So, I get an idea to do something. So, last weekend I was doing the laminate on my stairs, and I did have to stop because my son came home. But I'm kind of like, I did a different project today because I had to sort something out with my tools, and I thought, oh, I'll leave that. Okay, so this is what happens. There's only like two steps to do, one and a half steps really. So that's the thing. I've done most of it, and that's a typical pattern. Start really strong, get most of it done, and then something else gets my attention. So I think, well, I'll just do that because that's like a big job. I can get that done, and this is only a little job. Um, so then once I've done this sort of like 10 times, and I've got 10 little jobs that need finishing all around my house, um, that it's now a real pain. And it's the same with my work. So I've got lots of projects I'm working on at the moment in terms of ways in which I'm going to be building things out. So I'm working on this idea and I'm working on that idea, and I've got this thing going on. And I've done a bit of all of them. And the same with training. So there's lots of training courses I've got. And I tend to start at the beginning of a training course and I think, oh, this is good. And then I think, oh, what about this one? Um, and it's this constant like, oh, I wonder what's going on over here. I wonder what's going on over here, that stops your brain from focusing. But then you still know there's all the other stuff that needs to be done. So it's trying to get that sorted. So what happens when I get into that state is it works out, it's a bit like mental clutter. So when I try and rest and switch off, what happens, and this happened to me so much in my life, that I don't switch off my brain. So actually what I'm not really doing is resting. Because although I look to the exterior, people look at me and say, oh, she's resting. I'm not, because in my brain, I'm working this out, and then I'm working out if I do this, then that's how that will work, and that's how that will work. Because there's so many open loops. If I only had one or two open loops, then it would be like, okay, well, this is the plan for tomorrow, and this is what I'm going to do, and that's that. Or because I've got, say, 10, 12, all these little things, I'm planning out how they're all going to fit in. And that's a lot of mental clutter to be carrying. And then what actually happens then, the result of that is complete overwhelm. It's a bit like when your computer has got sort of like, okay, I'm very guilty of this. I have several windows on my browser open, and each window has a lot of tabs. Like I get to the point where you can't like select the top of the tab, because if you do, you click the cross because there's such a small amount left of it. So I try and stop before I get to that stage, but I'm not very good at it. And my brain's a bit like that as well. So you've got all these tabs open, all these things happening. And the result is actually things start running slower. So when I have all those tabs open, my computer does start running slower. And it's the same in my brain. And also the other result is my focus tends to be a bit more scattered. So I don't get as much done because I'm here and I'm there and I'm here and I'm there. And I'm not actually just do this, complete it, then on to the next thing. And it takes time and energy to switch from one task to another. This is one thing I've been learning. I always thought I was really good at doing something and then being able to switch really quickly. But the truth is that our brain needs time to adapt to a new task, to switch into a new mode. And I've been very aware of that. Things like when I need to stop work to cook, my brain's like, okay, right, cooking. And I have to think about it and I have to plan it. Even though I know how to cook really well and I might be cooking something that I cook all the time, I still need to get into the mindset of, okay, wait, this is what I have to do now. And so that scattered focus of shifting from task to task to task actually slows you down significantly. So, right. This is where the mindset, I think, comes from for me. And it's different for everybody. But mine is a lot about proving I can do a lot, proving I can achieve a lot, proving that I can be really productive. And so I'm trying to switch my mindset from my tasks to proving to clearing space. Because when those tasks are done, like when your house is a mess and you tidy it up, that lovely feeling of you tidied your house up. And that's what I'm aiming for, is every task that's completed is that's one thing off my list. It's one less thing I have to think about, worry about, and turn over. Even when I'm not consciously thinking about it, it's turning over in the back of my brain. And so that is like that mental relief. It's not about trying to be perfect at everything. It's not hustle, 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 hustle. It's about completing what I've started and feeling that mental relief. And it's all about reframing things, I think, because often we feel like we have to achieve that because of this and we have to achieve that because of this. And if we say, well, actually, do you know what? I just want to do these tasks because then I can tick them off my list and then I don't have to think about them and it's just going to be like, brilliant. Then actually what you're aiming for is more peace of mind, more balance in your life, and more focus. And then it's like, actually, this is a different mindset. It's what I'm working for is something different to what I was originally thinking about. I'm not hustling. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm not trying to force anything. I just don't want to carry the weight of this anymore. And that kind of gives a totally different mindset to it, really. So what we're going to talk about now is a 4-step reset method. And this is what I'm going to be using as much as I possibly can. Now, I am the greatest at coming up with plans and guides and techniques. I don't always stick to them. And it is important to say that actually sometimes you need to be a bit flexible because life throws you curveballs. So I've been doing DIY today and I planned to do DIY quite a lot over the weekend because my son's away. But I'm sitting here and I have quite a bad strain in my back. I can feel it. So now I'm thinking, is it the most sensible thing to be doing something physical all weekend? Or do I need to give myself a rest? And so it's about understanding that you need to flow with what your body's telling you as well, because your body this is what we want to be tuning into. Anyway, I'm digressing. So the 4-step method is step 1, anchor your day with 2 non-negotiables. Okay, so this is about the stuff that's for you, okay, that nourishes you. So in the morning, a grounding practice, and then choosing one job to do. Now, in the morning, I actually do more than one grounding practice. I've meditated every day for years and years and years and years and years, so I just do that. And very recently, the last few months, I have gone back to tapping every day as well. So I do a meditation, tapping, and then I journal. And my journaling actually gives me all my inspiration for my content that I create. So this is where the idea of this came from. It's what I've been kind of like thinking about because this is what I'm journaling on. And then I thought, well, okay, this will make quite an interesting piece of content. So it's a double focus thing. And then choosing one job. So this might be one thing. And for me, the way I'm working is I'm choosing one DIY task that I want to do and complete today and one business task. So I know that these are my tasks that I'm doing and then that's it. And then in the evening, doing something as a ritual to finishing the day. So when you're allowing yourself to switch off, to relax, to calm down, I'm doing a journaling practice. Often because what happens, and I've noticed this as a habit recently, is that I switch off from work. I'm like, right, I'm switched off. And then I start watching, I have a couple of hours watching stuff on TV. It's just a proper switch off. And I forget to do my evening journaling because I leave it till the end, and then I go to bed and I get up in the morning and I didn't even remember to do that because I'm tired and my brain stops thinking. So it's now becoming part of my ritual that at the end of my workday, I do my journaling before I allow the full relax to go, and then I don't have to stress about it because it's done. Right, so step two is, I've kind of touched on this already, but it's the one thing rule. So this is what's really hard. Don't start something new until the day's job is finished or it's reached a proper pause. So my DIY task I was doing today. I was building a cupboard under my stairs. Well, I was putting the shelves in for the cupboard under my stairs. Now, in my head, I actually planned to do just the supports for the shelves, and then I would do the shelves another time because it's going to be a big job. But actually, I managed to get everything out of from under the stairs, put the shelves, the support for the shelves in, get the shelves in, and put everything back in the cupboard. That included unpacking some boxes that have sat for the last 2 or 3 months on the side needing unpacking. So I got more done than I actually planned, and I actually completed that job. What I haven't done is build the surround and the door for the cupboard. I couldn't have done that today anyway. I can't do that for a while because there's a plug socket right where I want to put the door. Anyway, that's a whole nother story, but I've done the job that I needed to do. So it's about them feeling, okay, that level of completion. So now I'm recording this video. This is a work job that I'm doing, and I need to complete it, upload it, share it. That's all part of the job. And I'm not going to move on and do another work job until I've done that. So then it's like I don't have like a half recorded video, which is the kind of thing that I might do. I might record it and think, oh, I'll do something with that later. And then just nothing happens. So it's about thinking that. And then once you've done your main task, it's then pulling up some quick wins that you can add in. So small tasks. So if there's little things you need to finish off, do your main task. And then maybe there's 2 or 3 little things you can finish off relatively quickly. So just throw 1 or 2 of those in, and then you're going to feel like the day's been a massive win. That's my plan anyway. So step 3 is to keep your projects small. So this is kind of doable. It's about what it's about is not having multi-layered project as a task. Okay, so like I said about building the cupboard, I had building the shelves. I didn't say, right, my task for today is to build the entire cupboard, finished, door hung, everything, because I couldn't have done that in one day. So I'm setting myself up to fail. If I say, well, okay, my job today is to do the shelves in the cupboard, then that's an approachable task. So it's manageable. And the same with work. So if I've got several projects on the go, I might say, right, today I am working on this project. So today I'm doing this video. I do have an idea of another project that I want to work on once this is done. So that will be, I'll work on that project and I'll just do that. And then I will assess how I feel if I want to do more after that. And step 4 is to end the day with a done list. This is really important because what happens when we get stuck in that loop is we start thinking about all the things that we need to do. But what we don't focus on is the things we have actually done. And I had a bit of a wake-up call with this recently, and I often feel like I'm not doing very much, and I'm kind of like, And then I had a friend of mine send me an email. She has another group. She has a group as well. And she sent me a message saying, well, these are all the things that you've done today. Can you do a post in my group? I was like, oh, that's quite a lot. And it was like this sense of, okay, actually I have achieved quite a lot, but I hadn't really registered what I'd achieved. So it's just starting at the end of the day when doing the journaling to note the things that I've completed, the things that I've done, the things I've achieved, to kind of grow the motivation and reduce the stress. So it's about shifting what you focus on, because what you focus on, and it is true, it gets bigger. It doesn't mean necessarily that there's going to be more unfinished tasks. It just means that it will become more of an issue for me. And that's what I believe with this, what you focus on grows. It's more that it grows in your mind. So I'm now more and more aware of all of those unfinished tasks. Whereas if I focus on the things that I've got done, then I'm rewriting my script as somebody who completes tasks, somebody who gets stuff done. and makes progress. So then if there are unfinished tasks, I think, well, it's okay because I get those done. And so it takes the stress off, oh my gosh, I've got all these unfinished tasks and I probably won't get round to them. I think, well, actually, do you know what? I probably will. I'll do them in my own time and I do get a lot done. So it's just shifting that mindset ever so slightly. Well, quite a lot, actually. Okay. So these are, I don't know how well they'll work, but these are some practical tips for how you can stick to this plan like this, where you could be really rigid. So you can use visual reminders. So if you have like your one job that you're doing for today, you can actually put a post-it note on your computer saying, this is the job I am doing today. So you're reminding yourself that's what you're doing. So when, as invariably does with me, I get an idea. This is what happens, right? And this is how it happens for me a lot. I'm working on something. And as I'm working on it, my brain goes, and it's slightly off a tangent, but it's kind of like semi-related. Oh, this would be quite a good idea. But instead of thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to write that down and deal with it later, I think, just research that quickly and see if I think it's a good idea. But I haven't finished doing what I'm doing. And so now I've gone off over here and I forget that I was doing that. And then when I go back to my task, I think, did I finish that one? I think I didn't finish that one. I'm just explaining to you, this is what my thought processes are like. It does feel a bit chaotic sometimes when I describe it like that, but it is literally my brain will start working on something else mid-task. So having a visual reminder, I'd say, no, you're working on this, could help a lot. Something I'm trialing, it's something I don't really like, is time blocking work. And the reason I don't like it is, well, I do time block, but I think that when we block time out for work, we ignore our own physical symptoms and what our body's telling us, because we say, I've blocked out 2 hours to work, and so I'm going to work for 2 hours. I work very much with energy blocking. So if I'm feeling I have a high energy day, I always say, right, I'm going to block out time for work. And that's what I'm going to be doing. And I'm going to be working on this task when I'm working. But I'm still going to tune into how I'm feeling. So if I feel I am reaching the end of my energy level, or I need to break in the middle of that block and have something to eat or have a coffee break because my brain is struggling to focus, a little bit of fog's coming in and I need a break, I need an energy boost, I need a reset, maybe I need a pause. It's about listening to that. So yes, setting completion timers can work as long as you are using that in coordination with your body and your energy levels and what's going on for you. So if you have your evening task that you want to do at the end of work, and this is for me in particular, putting whatever journaling you want to do, or whatever task it is that you want to do, put something where you can see it in the evening so that you will pick that up before you do anything else. And that can be quite tactical. Now, for me, I do a lot of my journaling voice, and I do it via my phone. Okay, so I voice journal because I find it easier to talk than write. I know most people do. I talk a lot, so it's very easy to just blather on for ages in a voice journal. When it's writing, my hand gets tired and I think I can't be bothered. So I do lots of talking. So for me, one of the things that I could do is to set a timer on my phone, time to journal. And particularly, usually the best time for me would be just after my son has gone to sleep, before I switch off and relax. So that's quite a good time to set it for. And just keep celebrating your small completions. Actually start to reward yourself. So if you complete a task, give yourself a reward. If you do something, you've achieved something, appreciate it. Even if it's not giving yourself a specific reward, acknowledge it, share it with somebody, say, I did it. So that you actually feel that sense of achievement and you get that kind of buzz from finishing a project. So just to kind of end with something positive, that if you're in the half finished cycle, it's not because you're lazy. And this is really, really important to remember. It's often because your brain is overloaded. So there are so many tasks to do that your brain starts a lot of them because it thinks it's got to start everything. And the fastest way out of that loop is one completion at a time. So if you can, just think of one task you want to complete today and celebrate that completion. You will have achieved something great. So hopefully you've liked this video. If you've made it to the end, that's fantastic. Remember to subscribe and like so that more people get to see it and that you get to come see my content in the future. And if you want to comment on one thing you're going to finish this week, I would love to know. And yeah, that's fantastic. And I will hopefully see you guys soon.